Hey guys, what's going on? I have a new video for you guys covering a new pack that just came out by Sonic Faction called Probability. It's free for anybody that owns the Ableton Live 10 suite, and it's a really cool way to generate some melodies, some riffs, some arpeggiators, even some chord progressions. So the way that I use it is not only by generating but also creating a resample track and then using that to create new glitch riffs in itself. I'm going to be kind of covering not only how to use that in its own right, but how to come up with some synth lines that can also be applied to coming up with bass lines or coming up with percussive loops or anything of the sort. Electronic music in itself typically has a very loop pattern based style. Learning how to do stuff like this will help you create the loop and create a structure, but knowing how to do this will also help you create variations, aka breaking the structure. So let's cover what I have and then we can kind of go over some specifics. 3, 2, 1. So yeah, this is the track that I'm working on. It's obviously not done yet. I don't know if I'm going to finish it. I like it, but I'm not really sure where I want to take it. However, there's some really cool elements that are within this track that I wanted to show off. So first things first, I have an instance of Omnisphere, and I have this glitchy ass plugin that keeps doing this. So basically what's going on within this is there's a note, octave, velocity, and length tab, and they all work in combination with each other. So generally this starts off in C and major, but you can pick your key, and then you can also pick your scale or your mode, and basically play notes within that parameter. There's a rate that's right here that will play the columns accordingly, and then you can also add swing, which baffles me that you still can't add swing up in this corner. Okay, anyways, on your controller you can also link this up to your push 2, although I haven't had much success because it's still kind of in its beta slash glitchy phase. Let's listen to what I have on this so far. So that sounds pretty nice in its own right, and as you can tell there's no MIDI. So if you want to capture that, you'll have to create a resampling channel, which is what I did. I mean, that on its own sounds pretty nice. It's a great riff to start out with already. For me, I wanted to make it a little bit more complicated, so I added a Chaos, Dr. Chaos, sorry, which kind of does the same thing, but it randomizes the notes within the scale that you have. So here's your key and your scale. Everything that I'm playing is F and melodic minor. And this Chaos knob will dictate how crazy it gets. So let's take a listen to that. Yeah, I can listen to that all day. It's really cool. There's some few things that you can play with. If you click a specific note, then you can mess with these parameters of what note it is, what octave it plays at, the velocity, the length, just like the melodic probability. But you can also create patterns apparently. On the trailer I saw that there's some push integration that will create that wheel on your push, but I haven't figured that out. So maybe I'll do a future video when I figure that out and do some more cool stuff with it, but I don't have a camera that shows my push anyway, so I guess that would be useless. Anywho, after I've found some stuff I've liked, I bounce that out to audio, which sounds like this. I mean, I don't think that I would use the whole thing, but now that I have some cool audio tonal things to work with, I can start to take that entire thing and create a synth line with it. So what I've done was I basically took the very first note thing and chopped it up into this like 4/8 grid thing and then reversed it. I've also pitched that up by 12 and then left it on beats mode so that way it has that kind of weird glitch feel. That's another reverse. This in particular is accenting the rhythm, so it will be like a triplet thing, like doom, doom, doom. Sorry for the clipping, by the way. Putting that on top of where I already have kicks layered is a really easy way to accent your riff. After these 2 bars, I basically started doing the same thing. And then this is almost exactly the same, where this section is a little bit different, so there's a little bit of variation. And then it repeats again, and then the 7th bar, or sorry, yeah, the 6th and the 8th bar have a little bit of variation, so it's like A, B, A, C, A, D, if that makes sense. And that's usually how I make a lot of my stuff. So within that, there's a couple of different cool things that you can mess with within this. Here in this particular case, I've used the texture mode in the pitching and also the grain size from the texture to create that cool little riser that goes back into that. I mean, you can pretty much do that with any piece of audio, but that's the reason why I like doing resampling in the first place, is because there's so many different ways that you can use this and the warp modes to generate new sounds that you will not be able to synthesize with purpose. They're all kind of happy accidents, but you kind of get a feel for how to make more happy accidents the more that you're used to using the warp modes within these samples. So yeah, the reason why this is super cool is because beyond the melody and the synth line that I've created on this, everything that I have besides the drums, meaning the bass, the melodic pieces, and the percussion, are all the same skill, all the same thing. Like, I'm pretty sure that this is all one piece of audio. Let me see. Yep, all one piece of audio. Might be mid-range basses, might be a couple of pieces of audio, but as you can tell, they're all just little chops, and that's kind of how I make glitch music. What I'll do is I'll try to make these riffs and these chops based off of something that's going to accent the rhythm. So first I'll start with my drums, which is a very basic beat. And then I'll go into my percussion to fill out the loop. And I know that sounds really complicated, but really this was all made from that last video that I made regarding how to make glitch textures and stuff. This isn't as complicated as it looks, other than some reverb and some claps and whatnot. But then I'll go into the bass and start to create a riff, which this is just one note on the sub that's accenting the kicks. And then the response is just some growly basses or some neuro bass. Nothing too crazy. There's also this kind of Reese thing that I found on Omnisphere that I thought was pretty cool. And then everything else from there is melodics. Something that you might want to experiment too if you're working in MIDI is playing with the on and off function. It's kind of cool because this can't be in solo. But what that does is, if you have like a big wide pad with a lot of reverb on it, you can just turn it off as opposed to throwing it in audio. There's so many ways to achieve the same result. But yeah, in conclusion, using those generators is a great way to come up with cool riffs, and then using the resampling techniques that I've shown you in the context of drums, bass, melody are all the same thing. So yeah, this music is a lot easier to make than people think, but the key to it is resampling and learning how to chop samples. And then once you do that, you pretty much just go ham. I hope that was informative to you all. If you have any questions, then let me know. Happy producing.